We're travelling New Zealand in our Hymer Camper. We've been up to Northland, but now we're in the Auckland region. Last episode, we left Snell's Beach and headed down the Hibiscus coast, heading to Whangaparoa to stay at the Gulf Harbour Yacht Club Marina. Next, we popped round the Gulf Harbour Freedom Spot and tried out a bit of fishing. We're finally down to Auckland to stay at Tui Glen in Henderson. This time we hope in Auckland there's a bit less rain and we can do some exploring. Last episode we took the train into Britomart, Auckland. This only cost a few dollars as the government has subsidised fares.
We're just heading over to Devonport on the ferry for a coffee and croissant for lunch. And the Devonport, that's arriving here in 10 minutes, so we'll just take a seat.
The Devonport ferry has been operating since the 1940s. It was run by a cutter which took people backwards and forwards to what was called Flagstaff before Devonport. This was replaced in the 1960s by a paddle steamer. These were eventually replaced by a double-ended screw-driven ferry in 1904, which took the passengers in cars across Devonport until the point where the Auckland Bridge was built in 1959.
Put my coat on, but it's now 22 degrees.
Devonport's mainly a naval base. I always find myself hopping over here, get a feel of the harbour, and when you get over there it's such a quaint little place with lots of bookshops, coffee shops and old buildings. I think the optometrists win the prize for the best dressed window. In 1981, the Devonport Borough Council declared Devonport a nuclear-free zone, which stood them out as one of the first councils to do so. The Devonport ferry terminal was constructed in 1912 from Coromandel granite. With it being quite a grey, wet day, we decided we'd go and visit the New Zealand Maritime Museum in the viaduct.
This here is a Jura from Fiji. As an example of a formidable boat, double-hulled canoe used for great ocean voyages and for warfare. Big old desk.
7-foot coastal trader cutting. Signed for hard work, which was built by the Coromandel Beach in 1880. Boy.
So there's a poster on here that says, "Immigrate to New Zealand. Good jobs, good pay, good living." Do we agree? New Zealand wants domestic servants. Good homes, good wages.
Who's that?
As the immigrants stepped aboard their ship bound for a new future, they carried little more than their courage, hopes and dreams.
We're now leaving the bedlam of the 19th century steerage cabin and are about to enter the comforts of the 1950s cabin.
How long did it take to come from Europe to New Zealand? If you were in a sailing ship in the 1840s to the 1890s, it was 80 to 160 days. And from the 1890s to the 1930s, in a steam ship, it was halved, 40 to 45 days. And a motor ship from the 40s to the 60s, 30 to 40 days. We have two men that came from Croatia to New Zealand, Mate and Marino. And if we open up inside, they're saying in the 1920s about 150 Dalmatians dug Kauri Gum in Northland, and that's what we saw when we were in Dargaville recently. Sir John Logan Campbell, the father of Auckland, was born in Edinburgh in Scotland in 1817. He came arriving on the Coromandel in 1840, where he met up with his friend William Brown, and they sailed around the Hauraki Gulf looking for opportunities. They eventually settled in Auckland, building a cottage and a short step away from Auckland's new port, and they began growing a rich importing and exporting goods for the town's new settlers.
We were both surprised by the number of displays in the Maritime Museum. Did not get the time to see all of it before it was closing time. When you buy a ticket, it allows you to come back the next day if you wish, but we're moving on, so we'll have to save this for later. We had a short stroll around the Auckland Viaduct and been here before to watch the Volvo Ocean Rates boats before heading back on the train to the camper. Today I'm off for a bit of an adventure because this pen reel that I bought off Facebook Marketplace has got a pin missing. This just meant to go backwards and forwards as it reels the line on, and it's not spreading the line across the reel when you wind it in. So I found a pen agent and I'm going to hop on my wee bike, hop on the train, take you along with me and see if we can get the right part for this. Going anywhere without a battery pack. The battery pack actually weighs more than the weight of the bike, and certainly was more than half the price. This time Amanda's staying back, and I've just put a fast playback of the track through past the pool and along the road till we get to the main shopping area of Henderson. Trains run every 20 minutes, so I'll just take my luck to when one arrives. Couldn't video getting on there, had to do a runner for the train. Anyway, we're going up here a couple of stops and then we'll get off and head west. Came up from down there where the Mount Eden station is, and now heading down the corner. I've got a bit of a hill here by the looks of it. We'll just cross over, no cars. So we're just heading back. Didn't record at the guy's place that was doing the repairs, but I've got all the parts back in there. He's fixed the handle, he's re-greased, and the handle was loose. Put the part in and got rid of slack that was in there, and charged me $5 for the part and $5 to clean the reel up in general and oil her up. Brilliant. We are back at the train station again. Head back to Henderson. And here's the wee sign on the train station to wait to load up bikes and prams. So if you're putting your bike on an Auckland train, I think it's the middle carriage, it looks like, is actually lower down, so you can actually push straight onto it. You don't have to go up a couple of stairs. All the rest of the carriages are elevated. They seem to always have one carriage in the middle for bikes, prams and scooters. And the disabled seats can fold down, fold up. Gives you plenty of room. First in, first served, they said. So there's Glen Eden, and we're going to go through Sunnyvale and then to Henderson. Yesterday when we went to, I think there's Britomart there, and then there's the southern line, goes out to Puka Cove.
The next station is Sunnyvale.
Got the announcements. So here we are, back at Henderson. Get off here on an island in between the two tracks. The only way of getting up is to go up the escalator.
The de-escalators are gone, so let's stop. I'm not going to carry the bikes down these, I'm just going to use the lift.
I quite like these clear doors so you can actually see if there's anybody in the lift before you try and get in. Saves those embarrassing moments.
Should better get out this side here, I think. Oh, look at that. Right. Now we're going through the turntables. I put the handlebars back up.
And here we are, back at the motorhome park again. Tomorrow we're going to see a stately home in Mount Albert.
Kia ora, here we are back on the Auckland trains. We've left Henderson Station and we're about to disembark at Mount Albert, where we're going to meet a friend, a long time friend of Woods', Barbara, and we're going to Alberton, which is a big 1870s wooden mansion in the suburb of Mount Albert. We're going to go. AT Auckland Transport.
See how much is left on it. Tells you how much.
8 something.
Okay.
I don't know how much is on yours. 8.60.
It's a 20-minute walk up the road from the train station to Alberton Homestead.
There
Thank you for being Barbara. Long time friends of Woodsies, so thanks for coming.
Alan Taylor came to New Zealand in 1849. He's about 16 years old. This is his father up here who sent him and several of his brothers across to New Zealand to come and live, gave them money to buy land. So he ended up buying land here, named his farm Alberton after the mountain, while his brothers had land in Glen Innes, Glen Orchard, which is now St Heliers, and Glen Dowie. So you notice a lot of glens there, and that's coming from their Scottish heritage. So Alan was actually born in India, where his father was stationed in the army over there, but he was educated in Scotland from about 8 years old. So in the house we have a bit of this kind of influence from his early childhood living in India, and this kind of unique for New Zealand kind of colonial Indian-inspired architecture in the house here.
This is the main bedroom of the house. All the 10 children were born here.
I think Alan come here at 18. I had a look at the land map from Mount Albert all the way just about down to the water as part of the farmstead. It would have been a grand home sitting on the hill, with many important visitors that would make up part of the history of New Zealand. The outdoor area now is actually quite small, obviously carved off with all the different suburbs and the houses that have grown around the area. And they've kept a little bit of garden around the outside. But for $10 for a visit, it's definitely worthwhile. You can of course get the Heritage Pass. I think there's about 2 or 3 other homes you can go and visit in Auckland. So it was back to the camper at Tui Glen, and then we decided that we'd head off down the road a little bit, heading for Thames Coromandel area. We needed a stop off in between, so we headed into Pukekohe and stayed at a pop there, and then carried on over to the further Thames. But anyway, we'll leave you here, and thanks for watching this episode. We'll catch up with you next time.